The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup final 4-2. They beat the Dallas Stars in 6 games. As you can tell, I am very excited. I already have my Stanley Cup Champs t-shirt, my Stanley Cup Champions hat. How did I get this? Because I actually went all the way to Tampa Bay. I drove a couple hours to try to get to the watch party. I actually didn't even get in. I watched it at a nearby bar. Eventually got in later on after the game was over. That's where I bought this stuff. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because I have been a Tampa Bay sports fan for quite some time now, and I've never really gotten a chance to see my team win a championship. You know, the last time we won was when the Lightning won in 2004, but I feel like I couldn't really fully experience it because I was 9 years old. That's not really the age you typically experience a championship and can really appreciate it. In fact, when I really became a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, it was weirdly when they weren't even that good. It was right around 2008, 2009. This is when they were doing very poorly. They were getting first and second overall picks, which they would use on Stamkos and Hedman, which now you feel very good about. But really where I feel like my Tampa Bay Lightning experience truly began was in 2011. Because, again, I'm going to talk very in detail about the Tampa Bay Lightning experience. If you guys don't care, then don't watch. That's fine. But what happened in 2011 was that the Tampa Bay Lightning were a good offensive team that really didn't have much going on defense. So what they did was they traded for a goalie, Dwayne Rollison. Rollison wasn't anything special, he wasn't anything spectacular, but he was very good, and he was a huge role in us having actually a very deep playoff run, where we made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Final, where we played Boston, a team that we would eventually play a couple more times later down the road. We went to a Game 7, and I went to the watch party, the very same one I was at tonight. And I was there. I was there for Game 7 as the Tampa Bay Lightning lost to the Boston Bruins 1-0 in what was widely considered one of the best hockey games ever. I disagree because my favorite team lost, and it was a heartbreaking loss. And really, that was kind of the last chance that really the Marty St. Louis, Vinny Lecavalier Lightning had to win a Stanley Cup. St. Louis would end up getting other opportunities, but just not with the Lightning. So, you know, that was very disappointing, and even more disappointing, the next 2 years, they also missed the playoffs altogether. So it really seemed like that was kind of our opportunity as we were 1 win away from a Stanley Cup final and fell just short. However, then the 2013-2014 season happened, and we were looking good. We made the playoffs, and then we had our starting goaltender, Ben Bishop, get injured, something that would become a staple of years to come. Bishop gets hurt. We have Anders Lindback as our backup, and he is just a mess. I was at Game 1 against the Canadiens. We lost 5-4 in overtime. We ended up getting swept out of the first round. But we were building. We were healthier the next year, and that's when things really started to get going. We make it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, largely because of starting goaltender Ben Bishop being great when he has to. Ben Bishop had not one, but 2 Game 7 shutouts to get us all the way to the Stanley Cup final, where things went wrong. Things went very wrong. First, Ben Bishop had a torn groin, which, yeah, I just have to say, out of all the injuries you could possibly get, torn groin, very high up there on one of the worst injuries you could get. That sounds incredibly painful. We actually had to play then young goaltender, 19-year-old Andrei Vasilevskiy in Game 4. Vasilevskiy wasn't bad, but he just wasn't Ben Bishop, and they lost that game and ended up losing 3 straight and ended up losing the series to the Chicago Blackhawks in 6. It was devastating, right? I mean, you're so close to winning the cup, you fall just short in what was actually a very competitive series, and you feel like had Bishop been healthy, or even had Tyler Johnson been healthy, who was our top goal scorer that year in the playoffs, but he had a broken wrist and wasn't very effective in the Stanley Cup final, you kind of feel like if we were healthy, we really would have had a chance. However, the next year, we would be thinking the same thing, because despite the fact that we won 4-1 in our first 2 series in the next year's playoffs, we had no Steven Stamkos. Not just that, but in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final against Pittsburgh, we lose, once again, our starting goaltender, Ben Bishop, where we have to play Andrei Vasilevskiy, who, again, was good, but he wasn't great. He wasn't Ben Bishop. And that caused us to lose the series in 7, among plenty of other things. Tampa Bay fans are kind of thinking, man, we can't possibly get any worse injury luck, can we? Well, Actually, we definitely could, and we would. The following year, literally every single player on our roster missed time from injury. That's not an exaggeration. Literally every single player got hurt and had to miss at least one game. So much so that we even just completely didn't qualify for the postseason whatsoever. And we kept thinking, man, if we could just have one season where we were healthy, and we would get that wish. We would be pretty healthy. And once again, in the first two series, we win them both in 5 games, meaning that going on to the next series, we're playing the Washington Capitals, a team that is notoriously known for choking in big playoff moments. So what happens when the Capitals win 2 straight? The Tampa Bay Lightning win 3 straight right back, and we're looking great. We are ready to go to the Stanley Cup final, and then we get completely shut out, and not just Game 6, but also Game 7, completely just decimated in a devastating loss once again. I remember personally, I was working at a warehouse at the time. I couldn't watch these games live, so I was literally watching these games at like 2 in the morning after I would get off of work, which was just crazy. In the Game 7 that we lost 4-0, I ended up like skipping ahead because I just couldn't bear to watch the ending of it. Another devastating loss. And I thought, man, it can't possibly get any worse. And you know what? At a certain point, I kind of just said, it's over. We're not going to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, this team just doesn't have it. But then the next season happened. And the next season, we've always been good in the regular season. But this time, we weren't just good, we were great. In fact, we weren't just great, we were historically great. We tied the record for most wins. We were looking like we were not just a good team, we were looking like we could be an all-time team, and I think most of you know what ended up happening. They didn't win a single game in the postseason, getting swept 4-0 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, part of me does want to say we lost Victor Hedman due to injury. That was partially why, but you can't blame it all on that. I mean, you can't get swept after tying the record for most wins. It was a devastating loss, and in fact, it was probably the most devastating loss of my sports watching career. That Game 1, we led 3-0, blew a 3-0 lead, and at that point, you kind of said, this isn't happening. Not with this team. They need to do something different. And to their credit, they kind of did and kind of didn't. First, they didn't do the move that every fan, myself included, was asking for. They didn't fire John Cooper, the head coach that a lot of people blamed for the loss. They kept John Cooper on board. What they did do different was they made a couple of trades, trading for Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow. These aren't household names, and they actually gave up a pretty high price to get both of these guys. But the reason why they overpaid was because they were fantastic guys in the postseason, and they continued to be fantastic guys for us all the way to this Stanley Cup playoff performance. And we were able to, once again, in the first 2 rounds, we win in 5 in both of them. This time a little bit different. We won in overtime in both of the clinching games. The next series, we played Islanders. And despite the fact that it was a 6-game series and it went to overtime in Game 6, the Lightning literally had to lead the entire series. They won Game 1, and they literally had to lead for the entire series. So they did feel pretty good. But then the Stars series happens, and I keep trying to accidentally call them the Sharks instead of the Stars, and the reason for it is, of course, because of Joe Pavelski, who is just so annoying, and I mean that as a compliment, honestly, because of how good he was for the Stars, and how annoying he was, and how, in my opinion, dirty, but that's just because I'm a fan of the opposite team. But yeah, I mean, that was a battle. We got blown out Game 1, win 3 straight, including an overtime winner in Game 4. I thought we were going to win it. I thought it was over, and I especially thought it was over when we were up 2-1 in Game 5. I go to I'm at the watch party. I'm having a great time. We're up 2-1, only 7 minutes left, and then, not only tied a game, they win it in double overtime with a Corey Perry, because, of course, it's Corey Perry who puts it in the back of the net and forces the Game 6, and you can't help but think, if you're a Lightning fan, not again. Not again. Please don't let this happen. Don't let us blow another opportunity. Don't have the entire sports world making fun of my favorite team for yet another time. Please, please, please don't let this happen. And thank God it did not. the Tampa Bay Lightning completely this was domination in Game 6. They won 2-0. At no point did it look like the Stars were going to win this game or really even had a chance. I mean, we just dominated this game, and it honestly felt like a celebration the entire third period as we were able to pull off this victory. Also, I meant to say this in the video, but Vasilevsky was incredible. Vasilevsky had his first ever career playoff shutout. My idea in making this video was I was going to keep talking about how he was good but not great, and he finally was great when he absolutely had to be in the biggest of moments. But it's 5 in the morning, and I don't quite have the editing or producing skills to pull that kind of maneuver off the way I thought I did. But yeah, Vasilevsky was great. That's why I kept saying negative things about him earlier. It was supposed to be a thing. Never mind. Continue. And I weirdly, I was so nervous for so much Lightning games throughout the course of my lifetime. Weirdly, in this one, with the stakes so high, I wasn't that nervous, mostly because it felt so like we were going to win. And we did win, and then we partied afterwards. This has been an awesome experience. I'm very happy that I can share it with you guys, share my Tampa Bay Lightning experience. We won the Cup. It feels fantastic. I have finally seen one of my favorite or one of my teams win the Stanley Cup or win a championship in general. It feels fantastic. We popped champagne. I'm just very happy. I wanted to share it with you guys. So, yeah. Usually I ask what you guys think. I wanted to share what I think for once. Stanley Cup champs. Feels very good. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me talk about my Stanley Cup final experience. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.